Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Saturday. Want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as season. I got a word for you. Tap in. Happy Saturday, guys. I'm sorry. Happy Saturday, guys. So I'm headed to dinner in a second, but I wanted to jump on really quickly. This should be a short word, but we shall see. We know how that goes. So I want to speak to those of you who are struggling. It's like you're between a hard rock and a shell. Now hear me, right? Ride with me. Like get in where you fit in. Different perspectives. Different perspectives is where I'm going to hit. But ultimately, it's the same foundation, if you will. This can look like a situation where you're stuck between two people, right? And I know that don't sound cute, but just ride with me. You're stuck between two people for whatever reason. You met two people at one time, or something happened and you left a situation and then you encountered and met someone else in the process, but then there's still a tug of war because maybe you have feelings over there, so you're all confused. This can look like there's only one person. There's only one person, but you need some type of clarity because again, you're thinking with your emotions and not your logic. So what happened is a lot of the times, right? We're human beings, right? We're moved by emotions. But if you're honest, if you're in this tug of war to begin with, then there's a great chance that your emotions got you here in the first place. So can we really, really depend and rely on our emotions? Or should we really be thinking with logic and head posture? Right? So it's intentional. So a lot of the times, whatever the situation is, you have to get to a place where you can really gain some clarity. And that means separation a lot of the times, right? Let that be from both, from one, from just whatever. It requires a separation where you don't have someone that you're already questioning, if you will, pulling from your emotions or adding to your emotions. Meaning, if you're trying to get clarity about what's right, what's wrong, this, that, and the third, if you're still entangled with someone emotionally, you're not going to be able to hear it clearly. You're not going to be able to hear from a spiritual posture, from a head posture, none of that. You're going to continuously be confused. This is why one day you can feel like you're over a person. You can feel like I'm completely over it. And then the next day you're longing for the person. We have to also factor in soul ties here. All right, we got to factor that in too. Factor it in. Doesn't mean everybody's situation. Just factor it in if it is your situation. That's not normal. That's not normal. So for those who are in a situation where someone have wronged you and you left, right? There is nobody else. You haven't met anybody else, but you're in I guess what you would call some type of grieving season. If you're still in contact with this person, right? Constant contact, whatever form, following them on social media, you're seeing their posts, you're seeing their pictures, you're having conversations or whatever. And let's be clear, it's not that something is wrong with that, right? And just in a, I don't know, how can I explain it? I'm trying to make it's not that it's a bad thing, but it's just not a logical thing to do. Because how could you get clarity if your emotions are still entangled? Your emotions will constantly play tricks on you where you turn off your logic. Logic will tell you and remind you why you left. Logic will tell you they don't respect you. Logic will tell you that's just their character and they will never change. Logic will tell you they will hurt you again. Logic will tell you you're just too much for them. Logic will tell you it's a counterfeit. Logic will tell you, and we can go on and on and on and on. That's logic. Your emotions are going to tell you how good the sex was. Your emotions are going to tell you about the great times. The emotions will have you cutting off what they did. The emotions will have you entangled on all of the good stuff, the good times. So you can't hear logic. You can't hear the Holy Spirit. You're confused. All right, so that part is kind of, again, it's all going to still stem from a foundation of having to cut off contact, having to get in a space, a posture where you can really, really hear, honestly, from God. So that kind of was from, I guess, for everybody, if you will, not everybody, but everybody's situation who can tap into that. But that kind of, I guess, lean more towards the person who has walked away, haven't met anyone yet, but just in a stance where you know you need to hear from God. God will start to convict you. If you feel yourself where your emotions are literally clouding everything that the Holy Spirit is saying to you, you need to cut contact. Now, let's say it's two people. How these two people got here, who knows? It could be two people you met at the same time. It can be you walking away from someone else who didn't value you and met someone else in the process before you were fully healed. And now there's this tug of war. The new person hasn't done anything to you, right? Not saying they're perfect and that they won't do anything. I'm just trying to make a point here. They haven't done anything to you. They're trying to get to know you, and vice versa, whatever. But on the flip side, it's the struggle between the persons that you're connected with, have emotions for, have a soul tie with, whatever the case may be. So now you're stuck between the struggle of moving forward. I know I need to move forward because this can never be again. When I think with logic tells me this can never be again. Emotions have me craving it. But logic says there is no way you can move past this, that, and the third. Logic says God made it clear this is not the person. Logic says God did, right? Emotions is telling you break no contact. Emotions is telling you send that text message. Emotions is telling you maybe we can go to counseling. Maybe we can go to counseling. Like, how can we figure this thing out when logic have clearly showed you it's done? Now, what are you doing? You met the new person, right? Now, this can go two ways. You guys don't have to always hit things from different perspectives. This can be a situation where the new person, and this is where you have to be careful. Because we will be responsible for playing with other people's feelings. Meaning, okay, say it's a situation, this is one perspective, that you met which phone am I even talking on? Child, I don't even know. Child, I'm recording on the wrong phone, but we're going to make it work today. We will be responsible for hurting other people. Meaning, let's say you met somebody new, but you can't even get a spark. You can't get a spark because your mind is stuck on the person that you don't have closure with. So you know this, but you're intentionally playing with someone's feelings, right? Why is it intentional? Right. In your mind, you may not, well, that's not my intentions. Well, it kind of is, because if you know you're not over this person and you haven't been through a healing season or a space to give you closure, and you know that you're emotionally unavailable, that's logic. So you know that this other person is catching feelings. This other person is trying to put time in. Everything that the other person didn't do, this person is willing to do. But what happens? Even though their actions is lining up you're still craving the one whose actions didn't line up. Make it make sense. How does that even make logical sense? You left a person for not doing one thing or for doing something, and you met someone else who's doing the complete opposite, but yet your mind is still pulling towards the person who wronged you, or just whatever, it didn't work out. How is that? That's emotions. So now you potentially are going to ruin and jeopardize a potential situation, right? For a person that did not honor you, if that is the situation. But you have to be honest and real with yourself. And you have to be honest and real with this new person. Listen, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm confused, right? I'm emotionally unavailable. We're adults. Have this conversation. I'm just not in this space where I can, like, I'm still trying to get closure over here. And I don't even want to bring you in that nonsense, because I can't even guarantee you at this point I won't go back. And before I hurt you, I'd rather just fall back and take my chances that if someone else picks you up, or you pick somebody else up, that's just going to have to be my accountability, and I have to be okay with it. Versus me trying to string you along knowing I got feelings for somebody else. So let me get to this place of closure first, all caps, first. And hopefully you will be available if you choose to. Now, some people will even choose to wait, right? If they want you bad enough, they'll wait. But you got to give them that decision, that choice. You can't force that upon them. You got to be real and have a true, authentic conversation, right? Like adults, and let them choose what they want. But either which way, you can't hear clearly. Regardless of the situation, you can't hear clearly what you need to do until you get yourself to a posture where you can literally separate yourself in whatever way, right? Communication, phone, text messages, social media. You got to cut. It's no contact. It's no contact. It's no contact. Then you can hear clearly with logic and not emotions. This is popping up really quickly before I go. To those of you who have already met great people, like truly, you've met great people. These people are putting the time in. They're showing you every single day that they're really into you. Like they're really trying, like they're really putting in the work, in the effort. Not saying that they're perfect. They ain't that cute, boom. But on the flip side, you have somebody else who wronged you, who hurt you. You can't trust them. They just haven't shown. Like it's a mess. It's a whole mess. I know that your emotions and your heart may be tied there. But from logic and transparency, don't ever, ever, ever allow yourself to lose something good and compare it with somebody who wronged you. And we're not even speaking about one wrong. I mean, it could be one wrong. Just depends on the situation for me, right? Because sometimes one wrong is enough. But if you don't stop, what I'm speaking about right now, I'm speaking about a person who's wronged you over and over. I'm talking about years and years. And you finally met someone who is the complete opposite. Emotions will have you literally locked on that foolishness versus logic showing you this is potentially the man that God has brought to me. but you're tied because of whatever reason. There's a soul tie, there's toxic empathy, there's trauma bonding, there's a lot of things that's going on, and you literally have met a great person, but it's hard to connect. Let me tell you, it's hard to connect with another person emotionally when your emotions is tied somewhere else. Now, men probably can do that 1,000 times a day. I don't know. I don't know. But with women, when our emotions are somewhere else, like when our emotions are stuck one place, it's hard to develop an emotional relationship with someone else. You can meet someone else that you really like and you're very fond of, but you can't get that connection the way it needs to be because your connection and your emotions are tied someplace else. So you have to literally pull away, break away, no contact, heal in order to hear things clearly. Then you can be able to receive the new person properly. Energy is real. People can feel your spirits. People can feel when you are fully invested. So if I'm in your face, for example, if I'm in your face and I'm doing everything to prove to you, right, X, Y, and Z, I can feel your energy that is being pulled somewhere else. What's that old school song? Your mind is here with me. Your mind is here with me. Your body's on the other side of town, something like that. That's real. So I just want to encourage you guys, whatever it is, whatever the situation or the scenario is, get in where you fit in. But ultimately, you may, all caps may, need to go in a season of no contact. And sometimes that means removing both people so you can hear clearly on your next step. Here you go, because you're up.